Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Damien with White Belt Goons. I want to welcome you to today's episode of White Belt Radio. Be talking about a couple things. This podcast is basically set up to go over my thoughts, my feelings, my outlook on jiu-jitsu. Just kind of keep track of what's going on with me and the world of jiu-jitsu as I go on this white belt journey. So this past weekend, had my second competition. This was the Ground Warrior submission only competition. Now, this was a little bit different than the first one that I did back in August. It's listed as a submission only competition, but if you don't get the sub, I guess they do keep track of your points, and then the judge gives kind of like a decision on who had the better match, right? So your boy was signed up for the ultra heavyweight. I weighed in at 255. And I think based on my age, they had me at like Masters 2 or Masters 3. But when I got there, they were like, look, nobody signed up in your age group and your weight group because of where you're at. Are you willing to go down? There was one other guy who weighed the same, but I think he was like, 5 or 10 years younger than me. He was in the age group down. So I'm like, yeah, definitely. So they were like, what we're going to do, since there's one guy in that age group and one guy in your age group, we're going to have you guys go up against each other, but we're going to have you do the best 2 out of 3. So best 2 out of 3 matches. That way you're guaranteed to at least get 2 matches, which I appreciated because the first competition that I went to, it was like, they just gave us one match, and I was so green, man, and that was a bad situation. I have that video up on my channel, my first ever jiu-jitsu competition, man. Y'all can see where I was at and how that went down. But I was really excited for the fact that we had best 2 out of 3. I was hopeful that I could pull out the win, and your boy took the first match on points and decision, lost the second match, and then came back and won the third. Now, I do want to say, competition is a great teacher. It's a great instructor because, my coaches rather over the last week had been, just talking about, not necessarily for me, but for everybody in the classes, talking about things to focus on. Jiu-jitsu is all about the details, the small things. And one of my coaches was like, all through class last week, focus on your bottom hook. We were doing back takes. We were doing rear naked choke from back take. Even like takedowns from the turtle position, like if somebody's defending in turtle position. And one of the main things that Coach Robin was talking about was focusing on that bottom hook. He's like, yo, if you don't focus on that bottom hook, somebody's going to be able to just roll out. You have to focus on that bottom hook, bottom hook, bottom hook, bottom hook. And in the second round, I take my opponent's back and I just release that bottom hook. And literally, just like he said, the guy just rolls out, puts me in kind of a bow and arrow choke, and he wins that second match. But, it just little situations like that, they remind you to focus on the details. And I guarantee you, I will always focus on that bottom hook moving forward. Speaking of the competition, I don't know if you guys compete yet or not, but you generally, for most competitions, you register on this app called Smooth Comp. And people have told me, like, do not look at your competition. Don't look at your competitors. Like, it never ends well or whatever. And so I did my absolute best to stay off of there. But right before the match, I look and I see the guy that I'm competing against. And no disrespect to the guy, but it just shows you like the person's face. And so based off this guy's face, like he just looked like your average middle-aged dad. And I say that as myself being an average middle-aged dad, and I just had in my mind what this guy was going to look like and what he was going to be like. The dude shows up. He comes around the corner from like the changing area, and he was a big dude. Like I guess like I don't really see myself as being a big guy, but I'm in the ultra heavyweight division for a reason. This dude was a big dude. And I'm looking at the guy, I'm like, oh shit, he's much bigger than I thought he was gonna be. And so I'm not gonna say that it kind of psyched me out, but it definitely like kind of gave me pause or whatever. So we get into the match, and right when he latches on, when he grabs on and gets grips, like he was so much stronger than I was expecting. And that really threw me. So like the first 3 to 5 seconds of that match, like I was just like, oh shit, like this dude's strong. So I don't know. I don't really have much to say about that other than the fact that like, you can't you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't assume anything about anybody, but I've got to get to a point where I'm not looking at my competitors. I have one of our coaches, one of our black belt coaches, he always says, like, at the end of the day, it's jujitsu versus jujitsu. Like, no one's going to be able to kick you. No one's going to be able to punch you. So don't worry about how big the guy is. Don't worry about how potentially strong the guy is. Like, it's literally your jujitsu versus this guy's jujitsu. Like, just keep it in its place. And if things don't work out for you, you get in a bad situation, you just tap. You know what I mean? But where are you guys at? Are you the kind of person that likes to know who you're going up against before you get there? Or are you a day of the competition, just deal with whoever is right in front of you? I think that, I think moving forward, I really just want to deal with my competitor when I get there. I'm in that weird position that there's going to probably, for the most part, as long as I'm doing like masters division white belt gi, there's going to probably be 1, 2, maybe 3 people tops in my age group or my weight bracket, unless I do like an absolute or something. But for me, I think I would rather just react to whatever they bring to the table, because I already have anxiety and like other issues, and anything that I look at or I see, like, it throws me off. But I'm interested to know what you guys think. Should you research your competitors before the competition? Should you try and look up your person? Does someone's smooth comp record, does that affect you? If you see that the guy's like 13-1 or 12-0 or something like that, does that affect how you go into the match, how you grapple? But I'm new to all this, so I want to know what you guys think. If you've been doing this for a while, let me know what your thought process is. Do you shy away from looking at people's records? Do you shy away from looking into who that person is? Do you look at their YouTube channel or Instagram? Or do you just block it all out? And then also, last thing, do you guys, if you do compete, do you go in with a game plan? Are you game plan type people? Like, do you know the takedown that you're looking to hit? Do you know if you're going to pull guard? Like, do you have a pathway towards a certain 1 or 2 submissions that you feel comfortable with? Like, I want to know what you guys think about having a game plan and a pathway for your competitions if you're doing competitions. If you don't do competitions, do you have a game plan when you're rolling? If you're not rolling, like, then I guess it doesn't matter. But I want to know kind of like where you guys are at, what you think, how you view this. So please drop those comments in the comment section, and let's dialogue. Let's get a community going of information. Let's try and build up the white belt mafia here, and just share with me what you guys think, and how you guys see it, so that I can kind of bounce off my ideas of what I'm going through and what I'm dealing with and all that jazz. So, hey man, I appreciate y'all stopping in and listening to me rant and ramble for a little bit. I appreciate you being here. If you haven't, please make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you guys on the next one. All right. Y'all keep moving. White Belt Goons. Take care. Be great.